this recording, as well as Miguel. Thank you so much for your time in order to be able to talk to us about some of the new tendencies that are happening in the conference space. We see as a wholesaler audio video export, we've seen some interesting trends happening this past year, and we were very excited. I was really excited to be able to see this new product come out, the MXA902, not to be confused if you're watching this with the 920. Same numbers, different order, different product, different application. So I'm really excited to be able to talk a little bit more about it. We saw it at InfoComm earlier this year. We actually have a 902 installed at our office. And we love it. I love it. It's a great unit, and we'll be doing the recording for this version of the webinar in Spanish tomorrow from that space. So you'll be able to hear that on the recording tomorrow. So if you're curious what it sounds like in the microphone, check out tomorrow, even though it'll be in Spanish, and everybody will be able to hear it live, which will be really cool. So thank you so much, Miguel. I've got I'll be watching the question box, and so if there's anything that applies that I can interrupt you on, I know that you're always really good about being able to receive that and whatnot. So thanks again for your time and spending it with us, and we're all yours.
Sure. Well, thanks, Nick. Well, hello, everybody, again. My name is Miguel Pauker. I do market development for SHURE for Latin America and the Caribbean. So I am glad to be here with Audio Video Export, our distributing partner here in Miami. As promised, we do have here our presentation for this webinar. And let me just move the Teams box that actually appeared in my, I hope you don't see it on the screen, but we do have some information for you regarding new tendencies and what is the new world of the post-pandemic era. So we do want to preface this with saying that SHURE is an audio company. We are an audio business where we come from the microphone business. So we've developed microphones for live sound throughout the last, more than 90 years at this point. So as many of you may know, in live sound, you cannot lose the microphone. Imagine if you're watching a big name artist like Adele or Celine Dion or one of them, and the microphone stops working. Not only does the artist suffer, but the musician suffer. The promoter has to deal with insurance for the event. So it can cause a chain effect with a lot of different crew. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take that reliability that you find in live audio microphones and that quality of sound that you hear in live microphones over to the video conferencing area, the video conferencing segment. And so we bring more than 90 years of experience in audio. We have 98 years as of this year. Next year, the company turns 99. 2025 is going to be our 100th anniversary. So we're looking forward to that. That known, communication and technology for communication have both come a long way. I don't know if some of you that are listening or are viewing this can remember, these types of offices where we had the, telephones with a telephone line. We had wired mics maybe for paging purposes. We had the big offices that were, packed full. And now we have the more modern office where we have digital signage, we have TV screens or digital screens or even projection screens to view the content from a video conference. And more recently, we've come to this, where we are doing a lot more video conferencing nowadays, especially after the whole COVID pandemic happened and the lockdowns that came with them. So we wanted to share some information for you on the corporative side of things and how they have changed. I'm not going to bore you with reading everything that's online here, but there is a large percentage of workers that report video conferencing enhances their communication experience and even improve their internal relationships with other coworkers in the workplace. And we do spend a lot of time working in video conferencing. I'm no exception. I am based in Miami, as the folks of Audio Video Export are. And I attend a region that includes pretty much all of Latin America except for Mexico and Brazil. So any given day, I might be doing a video conference with Argentina, with Colombia, with Ecuador, with Peru. So I do spend a lot of my time in video conferencing as well. In 2022, for example, video conferencing software like Zoom, Teams, Google Meets had a market penetration of roughly 65%. All of this info, by the way, comes from a blog from techjury.net. And the link, the URL is at the bottom of the screen in case you want to visit it directly and see for yourself. But something that we may not have considered is job seekers. One of the things that we strive to do as SHURE is make sure that the message is being expressed properly across a video conferencing. And that obviously has to do with voice pickup. So we at SHURE want to ensure that the voice of all video conferencing participants are picked up correctly so that they can express their message. But that also gives corporations a bit of an insight on how they operate and how they work. And what do I mean by this? The most perfect example of this is doing a video conferencing job interview. A lot of employers have done video interviews during the hiring process, where, and you can see here on screen, virtual online interviews have risen nearly 50% since 2011. So that means that a lot of times the first impression that a candidate takes from the new corporation that they want to join is through video conferencing. So what kind of message are we giving our end users? What kind of message are we giving our customers? What kind of message are we giving our online job seekers if we do a video conference and it sounds bad? Or in the case of many corporations, we have microphones that aren't suited for video conferencing, where they can't hear us, they can't understand us, or where it sounds like we're in a cave or we're in a bathroom. Not to be vulgar, but that's a typical complaint. So that's what SHURE is trying to do, address those problems and make sure that the audio and video conferencing is the best it can be. And, we also have a lot of people spend more than 4 hours weekly in video conferences. So we want to make sure that the audio is of good quality so we can express that message. There are studies that indicate that when we have a video conference meeting and we can't hear well from the other side of the screen, our brains start working overtime to compensate for that bad quality audio. And when that happens, the brain makes an effort, the brain can get tired. And when the brain gets tired, that's when, the little phone comes out and we start looking at, sports results or the news, or we look out the window and see how the traffic's doing. And we lose attention on the video conference. So having good quality audio makes it easier for the person to understand the message and makes it easier for them to process that message. On the other side of things, we also have education. A lot of universities and school entities invested a lot in video conferencing, especially after the pandemic. It happened also that a lot of universities, they might have invested in smaller solutions like small mics that may have been worth, $50, $60. But now they're understanding that that may not be the best option because it might pick up the teacher well. But if a student is making a question, how does that question go over the video conference to the other students on the other end of the screen? So maybe the smaller mics may not be the best option to pick up everything. So now universities are starting to understand that they need a more robust audio system. So in the more recent years, in the Caribbean, for example, There are universities like American University in the Barbados. There's also other universities in Latin America, like Tech from Monterrey in Mexico, Universidad del Valle in Guatemala. There's also Universidad de las Américas in Ecuador. So there's a lot of universities that are now catching up to that and are now implementing higher end solutions for their streaming classrooms, for their hybrid classrooms. This has grown a lot, and actually I want to leave you with one more figure that from this blog, also from admissionslead.com, the sources at the bottom. Globally, the e-learning industry is the fastest growing industry. So not only is there opportunity from the universities to improve their audio, but there's also opportunities for us, the integrators, for example, and the manufacturers, to find these opportunities with universities. So if you are an integrator that are watching this, we highly encourage you to seek those opportunities with universities and colleges so that they can improve their audio quality for hybrid classes. And on that note, here is a note. This is from Latin Press, from AVI Latin America, where it does mention it's clear that at present that education and healthcare present a demand for AV solutions that allows them to be more efficient, especially after the lockdown, where equipment was required that allowed them to continue operations amid those movement restrictions. So that's a tendency that we're going to see play out a little bit more in the coming years. And now to give you a cost summary of how much it costs to have bad quality audio, because there is a negative cost that can be associated with it. Workers are spending a lot more time in work-based meetings and video conferencing, an average of 16 hours per week. That's more than 800 hours a year, sometimes even more. And so that indicates a time investment in meetings that has grown 8 to 10% over each year since 2000. But there's also unproductive meetings. Unproductive meetings would be those meetings where the speaker cannot be heard correctly. So the message is not transmitted well, it's not expressed well, and that translates to hours of, billions of hours misspent in unproductive meetings. Those are the meetings that the audio is not good, that you can't hear on the other side. Maybe there's echo, maybe there's reverberation in the room where you can't hear the speaker very well. So again, the brain can get tired and you start getting distracted. So if we can quantify that, unproductive meetings can cause losses of around 37 billion US dollars a year. And that not only includes the time that has been misspent in the video conference with bad quality audio, but that also means an investment from the integrator side, because the integrator has to do the installation. And if the customer is not happy with the installation, that means calling the integrator again. Hey, this doesn't sound good. What can we do? The integrator now has to spend on transportation costs to go back to the user site. That can also mean maybe investigating or researching other products, and that can cost also. That's also an investment. So what we aim to do, Shure, as a brand, is help prevent those misspent funds and have a good project, have it good from the start, have it sound great, and have it be a project that the user doesn't have to be calling the integrator often. It's just a project that is installed, configured, ready to go. The user can just use the system, no problems. This is from a poll that was taken from the Latin Press in Latin America, a poll of audiovisual integrators in Latin America, where they asked them what do they consider traditional audio. And traditional audio would mean analog audio. That would mean, the wired microphones that sit on the tabletop mics. They might be plug and play, yes, because you can typically connect an XLR directly into a mixer or into a DSP processor. Those are considered traditional, or dare I say it, old-fashioned projects. Innovative projects that we see nowadays are hybrid space meeting rooms, meaning Microsoft Teams rooms, Zoom rooms, audio that's based on the web-based audio via Dante. Dante is a protocol that uses audio over Ethernet cables. So they consider that to be innovative. Audio over IP and cloud services. And also microphones with pickup patterns that can adapt to the environment. We'll see a little bit more about that a little bit later. And future trends. What do they think are future trends for these kind of projects? We're still going to see AV over IP, over internet, over web. So we're still going to see the Dante protocol. Shure is one of the brands that adopted Dante when it was still in its relative infancy. So we now have a large portfolio of products that are all Dante compatible, like the MXA920, like the MXA902, which we're going to see in a little bit further on. Wireless transmission, like Barco ClickShare, like Air Media from Crestron, like ScreenBeam. Those are also seen as future trends. And also camera tracking. Camera tracking is a big one. We see a lot of projects that implement camera tracking where you have a room, for example, a large room, and wherever the person is speaking, that the camera can identify where that person is speaking and point the camera to that person. And that obviously has a lot to do with the microphone that's being used. So the microphone can play a big part in camera tracking. Now, if we're integrators, we do know that the reality of all this can be a headache because we are involving a lot of different brands. We are involving a lot of different standards, perhaps, a lot of different protocols. So, you know, the reality can be that it can be a lot and it can be a headache. So we at Shure, we understand that. And so the products that Shure has in the market for video conferencing take 4 key considerations. And the products that we're going to see, in a couple of minutes are no exception. And these considerations are simplicity, that they can be simple not only for the integrator to install and configure, but that they can be simple for the user to use, the end user. Meaning, you know, the executive in the boardroom that just wants to walk in and use the video conferencing equipment. They don't want to deal with turning something on, configuring something, setting something up to be able to use it. They just want to be able to maybe plug their computer in and use the video conferencing system. So that's a key consideration that Shure uses. Simple in being easy to use, easy to program, easy to configure. Stability, that they are solutions that are stable, that will work today, they will work tomorrow, they will work 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now. Shure prides itself on offering a lot of solutions that are durable. We have a lot of customers that are still using Shure solutions, even from way back in 2010, 2011, and are still using them today. Scalability, that these solutions can be used in not only the smallest meeting room, but also the largest meeting room, auditoriums, large meeting spaces, large presentation and training spaces. So these solutions can be used in the smaller rooms, but also we can go up to the bigger, larger rooms. And also that adheres to standards. Nowadays, there's a lot of standards in the market. You have Microsoft Teams, you have Zoom, you have Google Meet, you have Cisco hard codecs, you have Poly hard codecs. So there's a lot of standards in the market out there. And we do take a lot of effort for sure to be compatible with any kind of standards that are available in the market. So that is really the challenge overall, not only for us, Shure, as a manufacturer, but for the integrators, for the end users, how to create collaboration environments that can encourage participation in and out of that post-pandemic office. And that's what we Shure are aiming to do. We are aiming to provide a good solution that can apply to the office, but also video conferencing, presentation, etc. We aim to improve unified communications. And what are unified communications? Well, I mean, we have the obviously we have the definitions, communication, but largely even the definition itself, the imparting or interchange of thoughts or information by speech. And obviously the verb speak has to do with talking. We want to communicate vocally. And how do we form those sounds when we communicate vocally? With speech. We use speech to express thoughts and emotions by speech sounds. And we create those sounds with our voice. And that's what SHURE wants to ensure in the end, is that your voice is clear, your voice is audible, intelligible, that you can express those thoughts and concerns using your voice, and that those thoughts can be communicated through a video conference. So key benefits as an integrator, and we do know that SHURE can have, let's not mince words here. We do have a higher cost than perhaps other solutions in the market, but these are benefits that we offer perhaps through that higher cost, but easier setup and configuration. We look to make it easier for the integrator to set up and configure these solutions, flexible applications, but most of all, premium audio for that discerning customer. With SHURE, you are basically guaranteeing the customer that you are going to have great sound quality in their video conferences. And if you don't have great sound quality, we can certainly help with that directly from SHURE, from us, the manufacturer, but we also have the SHURE Audio Institute, which is our education portal. You can see all sorts of courses in the education portal, from how to set up this equipment to how to get the best possible performance from this equipment. So we highly encourage you to attend the SHURE Audio Institute. We'll post a link in a little bit more further up ahead. But also for the end user, key benefits, like IT managers, for example, flexibility of having good, trustable audio, good audio that's going to work, and it's going to work from here for years ahead of time, without having to learn how to use and how to configure the audio equipment. Because we know that IT managers are usually focused on IT. They're focused on their administration of the network, in the building, in the corporation. So they may not be focused on audio.
Miguel, we get this
question there, or?
Yeah, Miguel, we get the question quite frequently with regard to the IT side of the business, because a lot of our customers are going to be much more focused on the audio video, and they may not be experts in IT. And so part of this is the ease. You were talking about how easy it is in order to be able to do this, and I know that you're going to review that just a little bit more. But the second side of this is sometimes we go into a space that's a little bit more sensitive when it comes to the network, that we're not allowed to touch their network. Do we have to touch the client's network, or can we set up our own separately? What are your thoughts on that?
We can do either or. We are configured to work within the existing IT structure. We are also configured to work within a separate, like a VLAN or even a separate LAN with its own switch. So it really depends on the IT manager. It really depends on how much they want to keep their communications secure. However, that's part of this slide, is secure communication. All of the SHURE products designed for video conferencing that are Ethernet based can take advantage of what's called a SHURE audio encryption. And that's encryption at the AES 256 level, which is one of the highest levels of encryption out there. The US Army, for example, encrypts their communications with AES 256. So if the IT integrator wants to encrypt communications via Ethernet with these products, They can be encrypted with AES-256. We can also be compatible with 802.1b encryption, which if you know about it and you're interested, please send me an email. I will put up my contact information at the end of this presentation. So if you're interested to know more, we can certainly help. So we do provide also these essentials for audio, like microphone reach. Not many of us, especially in the integration world, think about how far do we need the microphone to reach. So depending on the solution that we pick from Shure, we can certainly help guarantee good microphone reach and microphone pickup. Voice isolation, which means how focused is the microphone on the voice itself. And also digital signal processing, DSP, which allows us to do auto mixing, for example. I like to think of DSP as having an automated audio engineer within the room that can help, for example, raise the volume on a person if they're speaking softly, or lower the volume on a person who's speaking too loud. So that part can be included in Shure solutions. Highly recommended headphones for remote listeners so that they can hear everything clearly. And also camera tracking, especially in large rooms. So to that, we want to address the best use of the space. A lot of integrators will focus on having product on the table, for example, tabletop mics, or maybe an all-in-one solution on the table. But nowadays, if we look at this slide, for example, we might have way too much sitting on the table as it is. And we usually have, computers, we have the laptops, we have the notebooks to take notes on. We might have the glass of water, the cup of coffee, maybe even, the breakfast muffins or pastries. So, having tabletop mics is a good solution, but it may look too cluttered on the table. Add to that cables that may be part of the microphone solution. So you may have too much to put microphones on the table. So you might consider the wall. You might consider a sound bar, for example. And we'll get to sound bar coverage in a little bit. But even nowadays, a lot of end users are starting to complain that we have too much on the wall. We might have speakers on the wall. We might have a sound bar on the wall. We might have a microphone. We might have the screen. We might have the camera. So we can consider using the ceiling as an option. We might have more real estate in the ceiling, more open real estate in the ceiling, less equipment on the table. Might have more equal pickup across the room. I'll get to that in a minute. It might look a little neater and more organized. So there are some advantages to using a ceiling mic, like architectural advantages. You might have a ceiling mic that looks good within the aesthetics of the room. In the case of Shure, we have a lot of microphone solutions that require only one Ethernet cable. So there's less cabling, less to the installation. And preferred acoustics, equidistant to all users. And what do I mean by that? Here's a demo, an animation that shows you may have good coverage with a soundbar, but typically a soundbar will be installed in the end of the room. So the soundbar might pick up more of the people that are on one side of the table. And where do sorry, the laser pointer is acting up a little bit here on, but where do we usually have the more important people is sitting at the head of the table, where the soundbar might not be able to pick them up as accurately as the people on the far side of the table. So soundbars, like I said, are usually installed in the front of the room close to the screen. So voice pickup might not be equally distributed across the room. So a ceiling microphone may offer better coverage to people that are on the other side of the table, like the bosses or the VIPs that are usually sitting at the head of the table. So for those purposes, then, we do have MicroFlex Advance. MicroFlex Advance is has become the standard in AV nowadays. The Microflex Advanced line has received quite a few awards, quite a few innovation awards, all the way back to 2016 when these microphones first came out. Whenever you see Microflex Advanced, you can count on them having only one single network connection. You can count on them having the most premium audio that you can appreciate in the market. So to that being said, MXA920 is a ceiling array mic. MXA920, and maybe some of you listening may remember MXA910. MXA910 was the original ceiling mic from Shure, a ceiling array microphone. It had more than 100 mic elements in the ceiling array mic. We didn't publish the exact number, but MXA910 did require quite a bit of configuration in order for it to sound good. So Shure, in an effort to make that product even better, we came out last year, 2022, with the MXA920, which is the evolution of the MXA910. And so MXA920 then comes out. MXA910 is discontinued now; it's phased out. So now the new member of the family is MXA920. It offers much better sounding speech. It offers also the automatic coverage technology with coverage zones, which we'll see in a little bit as well. And it also has a lot of other features like camera tracking, or can offer camera tracking, sound reinforcement, voice lift. We'll see those in a minute. But also, aside from the rectangular format, we also offer MXA920 in a circular format. And MXA920 now, the round version that you see on screen is the exact same product. The only thing that changes is the physical format of the unit. So now we have a lot more aesthetic possibilities. So we can have the MXA920, the rectangular version, maybe installed in a ceiling panel, or you can have the round version if that's something that the client or the end user calls for. We also have all sorts of mounting options directly from Shure, like post mount, suspension mount, that's a standard mount, threaded pole mount, etc. And also it is paintable, so you can remove the grill and paint it to accommodate to the aesthetics of the room.
I want to make a note about that because, definitely take the grill off. I know that this is going to be publicized on our website, and usually the audio professionals, they're accustomed to doing this. But if you're an end user and you decide to do this after the installation is done and you're watching this webinar, make sure that you take the grill off, because you don't want to paint it with the grill on. You're going to mess up the elements inside, and you're going to void the warranty that way. So just to put that out there. And when Miguel mentions that those items, those accessories, those mounting options are available directly with Shure, they are also by nature available directly with us as well.
Good point. And I'm resharing the screen just because I want to share some audio a little bit further on. So. Okay, you should be able to see the screen now. Excellent point. You can also do voice lift and sound reinforcement with MXA920. This obviously, if you have well-placed speakers so that they are placed so as not to create feedback or generate feedback. Oops. Let's see if I can move the, I can't move it again. That's fine. So you can use MXA920 in voice lift or sound reinforcement situations. As long as it's, the speakers are well placed, and as long as the MXA920 is configured properly, you can certainly do that. Just to explain the concept, voice lift would be if you want people on the rear side of the room to hear the speaker in a slightly louder volume, so that you can hear them in the same volume as if you were in the front row. Sound reinforcement would be if I want to have MXA920 be used as a microphone for a sound reinforcement system, and that would obviously require the speakers to be placed a little bit further ahead and focused in such a way that it's not, the speakers aren't being captured by MXA920 again, and that's what might cause feedback. So, but if you want to do that, the option is there to be able to do that with MXA920. And also camera tracking. Oops. MXA920 offers the ability to send commands via TCP/IP to the a camera system that can accept those controls. So if you have a camera system that can accept TCP/IP controls, and there's quite a few in the market, there's One Beyond by Crestron. There's also the TR cameras from Aver. Those are high-end cameras. There's high-end Yealink cameras that can accept these kind of TCP/IP commands. Then you can do camera tracking with MXA920. MXA920 has a way of reporting the coordinates of the speaker via TCP/IP commands through Ethernet. So if you have an advanced camera system like that, you can certainly use MXA920 for camera tracking.
Just a note about that as well. Those string commands that Miguel is mentioning, the ability for you to be able to integrate that, you can find on the SHURE.com website. But if you have an existing system, right, that either uses a camera or you, for cost reasons, whatever, you're using a camera system that doesn't have that ability to be able to receive that string command. But let's say you've got, for instance, an older AMX and you wanted to be able to add this and then get them all to work together. The AMX system, and I'm just going to talk about the systems that we sell because that's what I know. The AMX system can receive the string command from the microphone. Now, the camera cannot receive the string command, but what the AMX can do, as a for instance, is it can send a command to the PTZ camera to do like a preset, right? So preset 1, preset 2, preset 3, based on the closest that string command comes to. So within program, you can get that to work. Even it's not a perfect auto track, but it will be a preset. So if you've got like a long conference room, you can have preset 1, which is the left-hand side, preset 2, which is the center, preset 3, which would be the right-hand side, and then the string command would be received by the control system and then report over to the camera, hey, go to this preset because that's where the speaker is going to be. And the speaker, I mean, not the electronic speaker, but the person who's talking, the talker. Sorry about that, Miguel. Thanks.
No, excellent. Good point. So you can do camera tracking with MXA920, and once again, MXA920 is microphone only. So you can use MXA920 is recommended for meeting spaces of, let's say, 30 feet by 30 feet, 9 meters by 9 meters, or larger. And obviously, you can use more if you have a larger room. You can certainly do so. However, MXA920 for a smaller room, we wouldn't recommend, and we have received a lot of requests. What can I do with a smaller room? And in the past, we might have suggested something like MXA710, for example. But now we do offer MXA902, which is the new product that Shure has launched. We just launched it in June of this year. If you were at Infocom, this was the big news at Infocom. But well, here we have a small video, and hopefully you can hear the audio that can explain it a little bit better than I can.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the first complete ceiling audio solution for AV.
Apologies, the video froze a little bit, so let me get back to that.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the first complete ceiling.
Okay, the video is freezing on me for some reason. Let me see if I can play it again.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conference.
Well, my apologies. I don't know if you're seeing it from your end, but from my end, it shows up as frozen. So
yeah, it's frozen.
Okay, good. So we won't bore you with the details on the video then. MXA902 then is the ceiling array microphone, but now we have a speaker built into it. So what that means is that now you have an all-in-one solution for the ceiling that can capture speakers around the room in a video conferencing setup. but also has a speaker to reproduce the sound, the far end sound of the call. MXA902 then is the mic plus the speaker. It also comes with onboard digital signal processing. So it literally is an all-in-one solution that you can use with something like Zoom or Teams. It requires a single Ethernet connection. So no need for additional cables, just one Ethernet cable. And it does have to be powered by PoE+. So you do need a PoE+ power supply or PoE+ compatible switch in order to use MXA902 to its full capabilities. And
So,
we've had this happen before.
Shameless plug. Apologies, Miguel. Shameless plug. We've got the Luxel network switches, which are PoE+ enabled and Dante functional. We've got a working system in our office. And again, you'll be able to hear that if you watch the recording for tomorrow in Spanish, which will be published on YouTube too. Yeah.
Excellent. So yes, it does have to be a PoE+ switch. And as Nick mentioned, he has them available. The PoE+ is required because it has happened to us. For example, if you connect MXA902 to a PoE power source, Designer from Shure, which is a free program, will reflect you cannot use MXA902. The speaker will shut down. That's because we're using a PoE power source. So it does require a PoE+ power source. So if you are using MXA902, please be aware of that. And once again, it's an all-in-one design, microphone and speaker ready to go. Now, the big difference between MXA902 and 920 is MXA902 only offers a single covered zone. And what do I mean by that? If we open Designer, which again is a free program from Shure Windows application, you can download it from shure.com. Just search for Designer in the search bar, and you will find the link to download Designer. It is free. And if we open up MXA902 in Designer, we'll see that we have a single automatic covered zone that is 20 feet by 20 feet, or 6 meters by 6 meters. MXA920, on the other hand, if you open MXA920 in Designer, automatically you have a 9 feet by 9 feet or 30 meter by 30 meter, 9 meter by 9 meter coverage area. And with MXA920, you can expand that coverage area, you can shrink that coverage area, you can create up to 8 different coverage areas. With MXA902, which includes the loudspeaker, you do not get that option. You only get a single covered zone that is 20 feet by 20 feet. You can move that coverage zone, as we see on the screen, a little bit in case the microphone is not physically centered, but not more than 4 feet in each direction. So those are the limitations. 920, you can create up to 8 coverage zones. You can shrink them, you can expand them, whatever you want. MXA902, you only have a single coverage zone that is 6 feet by 6 feet, and you can only focus it up to 4 feet in each direction. MXA902 also includes all the necessary IntelliMix DSP processing. It comes with automatic gain control. It comes with analog echo cancellation. It comes with noise reduction. It also comes with equalization, compression, all the tools you need to have the best sounding microphone pickup. But also you have loudspeaker DSP, which means that you can apply equalization to the speaker, compression. You also have a signal generator in case you want to test the mics or the speakers inside the MXA902. So here are some examples. You can have a smaller conference room or medium conference room, not larger than 20 feet by 20 feet, or 6 meters by 6 meters. I'm used to speaking in meters since I usually focus on Latin America. However, once you have that small or medium conference room, you have the microphone and the speaker built in. You add one single Ethernet cable and you're ready to go. So if you wanted to connect it directly to a computer, for example, a Mac or PC, you can do so with any USB matrix. Any USB matrix is an interface that connects to the same switch. So you would have MXA902 connected to the PoE Plus switch, let's say a Luxol switch like Nick was recommending. And you have the anti-USB matrix also connected to the same switch. And then the audio from MXA902 goes to the interface, from the interface USB to the Mac or PC, and you are ready to use with Zoom or Teams. It is already certified. That combination is already certified for Zoom and Teams, MXA902 plus anti-USB matrix. And we also have received word just a couple of weeks ago that we received the Google Meet certification as well. So MXA902 plus anti-USB, we can use with any of these platforms with a USB connection. That's all we would need to connect to have great sound. So once again, we are optimized for AV conferencing. All the mounting options for MXA920 work for MXA902. So you can use it in a drop ceiling. You can install it directly in a hard ceiling, for example. You can suspend it with a threaded rod or a pole. And we also offer the suspension cables, and those come directly from Shure as well. So now the real question is what to use for a ceiling. So it depends on what the size of the room is. It depends on the customer and also their budget, obviously. But now we have a bunch of different options. You have MXA902, which has a single audio channel out, single zone automatic coverage, but includes the speaker, recommended for rooms that are 20 feet by 20 feet or 6 meters by 6 meters maximum. You have MXA710, which is the linear mic. It looks like a sound bar, but it's a microphone. It's not a sound bar. And you can cover rooms from 2 feet or 4 feet. You can require slightly larger rooms, or you can consider MXA920, which will remain on the market. MXA920 is the rectangular ceiling panel mic, but this one will stay now for larger type of rooms, like auditoriums or presentation rooms. MXA920, again, it's microphone only. And with MXA920, you can do camera tracking, you can do voice lift, you can do sound reinforcement. You cannot do that with MXA902, which is the one that includes the speaker. And that's because it includes the speaker inside. So, if you do voice lift, you might cause feedback doing that. And also it's designed for smaller rooms, so camera tracking does not apply for MXA902. A couple of other things too.
You don't mention here, Miguel, I'm sorry, is that, obviously with the fact that the 920 doesn't have a microphone built in, yeah, you've got a lot of really great benefits and there's going to be a price tag that's along with it, but you also obviously have to buy the speakers to go along with it too. And I'm talking about the ceiling speakers or, any other kind of speakers. So it's really handy for these smaller rooms having the 902. And again, the conference room that we've got in our office, if you've ever been there, is relatively small, and having the 902 there that's got it built in, it's all one single Dante, RJ45, category 6 connection straight to the switch. And for us, it was super easy. There was no additional cost, no secondary wire. Labor costs are therefore decreased as well. Cabling costs as well. It was a really great system that came out perfect in time for us.
Excellent. And yeah, the speaker that's built into it, it's a wide dispersion speaker, so you can hear it pretty evenly across the room. You don't have to be directly underneath it in order to hear well. You can be 20 feet away from the microphone and you'll still hear the speaker sound quite well. It's very loud as well. It can be at full volume. It can get up there. It's not designed for movie watching or music listening. It's more designed to reproduce the sound of a video call. So if you have a user that is looking for the mic and the speaker to be integrated in one solution on the ceiling, great, MXA902 is for you. Now, a couple of questions too about MXA902. For example, a lot of our customers are asking us, can you use 2 of them at the same time? And we do not recommend using two MXA902s at the same time for two practical reasons. One being that it uses its own speaker as the reference for echo canceling. So if you have another MXA902 in the room reproducing sound as well, it can conflict with the echo canceling of the first MXA902. So it can cause sound issues that way. So we don't recommend using two MXA902s for that reason, but also for practical pricing reasons. If you see here on the screen, MXA920 map pricing in the US is $4,700, where MXA902 map pricing is $39.99. So if you think about it, if you have two MXA902s in the room because of size, you would be investing approximately $8,000 US, versus you can use the MXA920, that's $4,700, with additional speakers that probably won't run you more than $2,000 extra. So that would be a cost-saving measure. If you have a larger room, one MXA920 with speakers would be a lot less expensive than two MXA902s. So two main reasons why we don't do that. So we recommend only having one MXA902 in the room. If the room is bigger and you require MXA920, go with MXA920, but consider having other speakers like MXM5WC from SHURE, which are also network-based speakers. So then, to sum up, we also work with our technology partners. We are technology partners with Zoom, with Cisco, with Teams, Logitech, Crestron. There's a lot of technology partners out in the market. So we do work very well with other brands. And last but not least, our training and education platform. We do encourage you viewers to take a look at our SAI platform, Shure Audio Institute, and you see the URL here, or you can scan this QR code and it'll take you directly to the SAI platform. SAI has a lot of courses, from beginner courses all the way to advanced courses on the designer software, on P300, MXA920, MXA902. There's also an integrated system certification that's 2 levels. So we highly encourage you to visit our training portal to learn more about these solutions and get a little bit more hands-on training on how to configure all of these solutions, how to configure and set up. And then, well, we come to the questions side. I know Nick has had a few questions throughout the presentation, but if there are any questions out there, we're more than happy to help.
No, I thanks, Miguel, so much. I did answer all of the questions, and there were a couple of them that were private, so that were more specific application use. If there are any good questions for those who are watching the video, please do write either to your salesperson here within Audio Video Export, or if you're unsure who that is, please write directly to me, nick@av-export.com. It's a pleasure to be of assistance. And thank you so much, Miguel. We really appreciate your time, and this is a really useful information. And again, the 902 is going to be one of our best sellers, I'm sure of it. So thank you so much, and we're grateful.
Excellent,
Thank you so
excellent.
much.
I am placing also my contact information, my direct contact info. Once again, I work directly for SHURE as the manufacturer, but we do work with distributors such as Audio Video Export here that are with us. But if you have any questions regarding SHURE, please feel free to send me an email or give me a call. My number is there as well.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.